Hi everyone, in today's class we are going to learn a beautiful concept in physics. I think most of you may be familiar with this concept. So before going to the class, I want to ask you a question. What I have with me is a bag of cotton and an iron bar. The weight of both of these is 100 kilograms. So my question is, which one is more heavier? Is it the cotton bag or the iron bar? Which one has more mass? Some of you know the answer to this question, but if not, don't be confused. By the end of this class, you will learn the answer to this question. So before going to the concept, I'm going to do an experiment. What I have is, I have a stone that is tied to a thread and it is hanged on a spring balance. When I weigh its weight, I get about 2 kilograms. Then what I have to do is, I have to keep the spring balance in such a way that the stone is fully immersed in this water. The stone is not touched by at the bottom of the vessel. When I take the reading here, I will find that the weight is less than 2 kilograms. Why is this happening? The weight of the stone is decreased. Why is it so? When we take this out of the water and measure, we will again get the same 2 kilograms. So what happened? Is there any force that is pushing the stone upward? Yes, it is. There is actually a force called the buoyant force that is pushing the stone in an upward direction. This buoyant force is actually the cause for this decreased mass of the stone. Do all objects behave in this manner? Do all fluids exert this type of buoyant force? The answer to this question lies in the Archimedes principle. So before going to Archimedes principle, I want to tell you a story. Archimedes was a great scientist who lived in Greece. One day, the king called Archimedes and asked him, "Archimedes, I have a new crown. You have to check whether this crown is made up of pure gold or not." So Archimedes went in search for the answer to this question. And the next day, when he went to bath, he stepped into his bathtub and he found that when he was in the bathtub, the water displaced out of the bathtub due to his weight. And then Archimedes thought, has a great thought, and he understood that the weight of the water that is displaced from the tub has a relation with his own weight and the buoyant force that is acted by the water on his body. Then what Archimedes did? He stepped out of the tub and he ran through the streets of Greece and he shouted, "Eureka! Eureka! I have found it! I have found it!" That was the story. And thus Archimedes helped the king to find whether his crown is made of pure gold or not. So let us see what is Archimedes' principle. Archimedes' principle states that when a body is immersed fully or partially in a liquid, it will experience an upward force. And that will be equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. As a result of this buoyant force, what we get when we dip a stone in a liquid and when measure its weight, we are getting actually its apparent weight, not its actual weight. The apparent weight of the liquid is given by the actual weight minus the buoyant force. So the buoyant force is actually decreasing the actual weight of the object and we are getting the apparent weight of the object. So what is the actual weight of the object? The actual weight of the object is given by the apparent weight plus the buoyant force. So let us move on to the first question which I asked you in the beginning of the video. So according to Archimedes' principle, the object which is immersed in a liquid should experience a buoyant force that is equal to the weight of the water displaced by the object. While thinking about the buoyant force, you have to consider one more point. That is, if the size of the object is more, or if it is having more surface area, it will experience more buoyant force. And in case of small objects, it will also experience a buoyant force, but will be less compared to that of the objects which are having more size. So, of the bag of cotton which is having 100 kg and iron bar which is also having the same weight, that is 100 kg, out of which the bag of cotton will experience more buoyant force and the iron bar will experience less buoyant force. So let us find what is the actual weight of the bag of cotton and the iron bar. The apparent weight is equal to the actual weight minus buoyant force. So for the actual weight is given as the apparent weight plus the buoyant force. So in the case of this bag of cotton, there will be more buoyant force than that in the case of the iron bar. Both of them is having the same apparent weight. Therefore, the cotton bag which has more buoyant force will be having more actual weight. Therefore, the bag of cotton which is shown here is more heavier than that of the iron bar. I think you have understood this concept. I will ask you another question. What is your mass? Is it maybe 45, 30 or something? Are you more heavier than that? So go and find the answer to this question based on the Archimedes principle. Also, you have to find what are the applications of this Archimedes principle, where this Archimedes principle is used in our day-to-day lives. I hope you have understood the concept. Let us see you in next class with a more beautiful concept. Thank you.